Questions for, the interview podcast with Frank Göbel.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of Questions for. My German listeners will have noticed something is different today. Exactly. We're recording in English. Today I have Jake Zawracki and Elizabeth LeBaron as my guests. The two of them are based in New York and together they are the hottest shit in my playlist this year. I say hello and welcome to the Dream Eaters. Hey!
Hey.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
How's it going?
Yeah.
Wait, I never asked. I meant to ask you this before we started. Can they see us or are they just hearing audio?
No, this is just audio. Don't worry.
It's just audio. Okay.
It's fine. No, this is just a podcast.
Okay.
I found out about you on Instagram, and that leads to my first question. How important is social media to you? You are quite successful in terms of your numbers of followers, 125,000 followers. Wow. Is that important to you, or do you just accept that?
Well, we had been doing quite badly on social media until 2024. So it's all very recent, and it seems to be something that allows us to can be converted into having fans and having people show up to the shows and making some money from it. It's not I wouldn't call it especially lucrative, but there is some income coming from that.
Okay.
And so it's certainly good to have in terms of it's a lot of gratification.
Yes.
And it's nice to get a lot of compliments and stuff. I can't. It's hard to think of anything bad to say about it at all. It's very good. It's not the end of the rainbow. It's not the end goal, but
Yes.
It is certainly a nice thing.
Okay.
Sorry, Elizabeth.
No, that's fine. The question is how important is it to
Yes.
us? So I think Jake's point is it's important to us in the sense that it's allowed us to connect with an audience, which we haven't been able to do before. So a perfect example is being on this German podcast today. That certainly wouldn't have happened
Yes.
if we hadn't, like Jake said, kind of seen a lot of success this year with Instagram specifically.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty important.
Yeah.
It's important.
Absolutely.
It's very helpful.
How did you two get together? You, Elizabeth, are originally from Calgary, West Canada, and Jake is
Yeah.
from Boston, right? How did that come
Yeah.
together?
That's correct. That's true. Yep. We met bartending at our local neighborhood bar. So we're both bartenders. I think we were both always musicians before that. So a lot of people kind of told us it was one of those bars where like only one person was working at a time. Usually like we weren't working together. We worked at the same place, but we hadn't really met yet.
Okay.
So once we actually finally met after people being like, oh, you guys should meet, you should make music. And so we finally gave it a shot. And that was 10 years ago.
Wow.
Almost.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah. Bartender means you mix cocktails, and that leads to my question: what is the best cocktail?
Oh, that's definitely a question for Elizabeth.
Okay.
What is the best cocktail?
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite cocktail is the Negroni, and I think Jake, that's one of Jake's favorites as well.
Okay.
I really like the balance of like bitter and sweet. So I think balance is one of the most important things in a cocktail. And other than that, it's just preference. So margarita is still the most popular cocktail.
Yes.
Like every year it's the most popular. So I think that alone says a lot about the balance. You have the lime juice, you have the sweetener, the orange sometimes. So it's like whatever. And then the mouthfeel, it's refreshing. So I think
Yes.
margarita is potentially the best cocktail.
I really just drink beer mostly.
That's
So I
very
don't-
German, by the way.
Yeah, very German. Yeah, exactly. And I like German beer, so that's extra German.
Okay, cool. Me, as a huge hockey fan, I have to ask, when the Calgary Flames and the Boston Bruins meet.
Yeah.
Is this any issue for you? Are you any sports fan?
Elizabeth only pays passive attention to it, and
Okay.
I will get into the Bruins in when they're in the playoffs.
Okay.
I think the last few years they haven't gone very deep in the playoff leagues. They've had really good regular seasons, and then when the playoffs come, I think they've gone out in the first. Well, it wasn't last year. They went on the second round, and the year before that they went out in the first round. Even though they had, I think, the best record of all time in the NHL, and then they lost in the first round. So. I kind of tend to wait until things get serious, and then I'll pay attention to it. Obviously, growing up in Boston, I watched hockey all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
When I was a kid, but I don't. It's not something that. Also, I live in upstate New York now, sort of like 2 hours north of New York City, and there's just not a lot of opportunity to watch hockey here anyway. So even if I wanted to, I'd have to pay for like this, unbelievably expensive NHL package to be able to watch the Bruins.
I don't think there's like a particularly serious rivalry between the Flames and the Bruins. Like I don't like there's some teams that, have like really deep history and beef and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I remember in school there was a kid in my class in like 6th grade or something, and he had a Boston Bruins logo shaved into his head. Like it was like in like 6th grade when people were just allowed to get like cool haircuts for the first time and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll just never forget. I think that was my first interaction. I was like, oh, I thought everybody here was a Flames fan. Like that.
Yeah.
That was the first time I'd seen like another kid in class support another team. That wasn't like Oilers just to be edgy or anything like that. But so I don't know.
Very risky.
There's a lot of people that just like the sport of hockey that would like the Bruins or the Red Wings or the Blackhawks or the Montreal or Quebec, I think, was like the original 6 teams. Were like, a lot of people, there's just hundreds of, well, not hundreds, but like 100 years of history of that. So there's a lot of fans of those teams.
Okay.
We're going to Midtown, 'cause everybody's going there. The motherfucking world's on fire, and nobody cares, nobody cares. We're going to Midtown, 'cause everybody's going there.
Back to music and back to the band. How did you get into music? Did you went to music school or something?
I did. Well, so I grew up in a pretty religious environment that I'm not a part of anymore. But so I grew up singing a lot of like hymns and church music. I was always in choirs. Like I was always around music and singing specifically. And I'd say in about like middle school, around 13 or so, I decided I really wanted to kind of pursue it. So I went to a performing arts high school where I did classical chamber choir. And then in college, I studied jazz, which was very difficult.
Okay. I guess.
And I kind of, it's like the classic story you hear of like, I went to music school and I kind of came away from it like no longer really liking music. Like it kind of killed it for me. But then when I moved to New York and, I kind of decided I wanted to just keep going, and then we ran into each other.
Okay. And Jake, you're a natural born talent?
Well, I took guitar lessons when I was a kid.
Yes.
And I learned how to play guitar. I learned in middle school how to play the saxophone and just about music theory in general, but I didn't go to college at all.
Yeah.
So I didn't go to music school. And that whole time I was working on music, so I was learning it on my own, but I didn't have a traditional education.
Okay, cool. Jake, is it true that you wrote music for The Sopranos? I just read that somewhere on this worldwide wild internet.
I never wrote music specifically for The Sopranos. I had music used that I had written that happened to fit with what they wanted.
Okay.
Which is great because it's one of my favorite shows of all time, and it's something I'm proud of. But it's also not that big of a deal. I mean, it's great. I don't want to minimize it, but it also was like something you'd hear in the background at the strip club or something. It wasn't like, this really important highlighted song
Okay.
or anything,
But well, forever your name will
was-
be at the Sopranos, right?
I made a lot. It still made a lot of money for
Really?
me, and not a lot, but I still get checks for $100 here, $200 there,
Okay.
however many years later it is.
Yeah.
So that's great, and also it's one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yeah.
So there's that as well. I'm proud to have been a tiny little infinitesimal part of it.
Okay. To be honest, I have never seen the series, but I think I have to start now.
I actually haven't either. I know.
It's
I
great.
need to.
It's a great show.
Yeah.
It's one of the best TV shows of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, you wrote the music for it, of course.
I wrote the music for it. That would really be great. Yeah. I actually just saw a show. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I just saw a German show.
Yeah.
That was really excellent. It was a comedy. It was about a girl that goes missing. I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Dark.
No, not Dark. I've seen Dark too,
Okay.
though. I love that show.
Okay.
And also the 1899, the same
Yes,
people made
yes,
that, I
yes,
think. And
yes.
that was also excellent. I'll figure it out.
Okay.
As we go, I'll figure out the name of the show.
Perfect. The name Dream Eaters. Let's just say the name doesn't blow me away personally. How did you come up with the name? Is the band name even important these days?
Well, I would say that it was Elizabeth's idea, and I'll let her talk about this in 1 second, but
Okay.
she, I love that name. I had nothing to do with it, so I'm not really taking credit for anything. I'm not complimenting myself by saying that I love the name, and I'm very happy. Anytime someone asks me the name, with the fact that I get to say the Dream Eaters in response. I mean, I've been around for a long time. I've been in a lot of bands. Some of them have good names, some of them have bad names. I would say that for me, it's very nice to just say the name, which is not always the case. So it is important in that respect. I can say it with confidence,
Yeah, I was just about to say, I don't think we've ever fully agreed on like the story, because I was pretty sure that it was my idea, but I think it might have been. I know that it happened at Lowlands, which is the bar that Jake and I worked at. I'm pretty sure that I was like sitting there with a couple of regulars or something, and somebody said it, and one of us was like, "That would be a great band name." So we got to work on that story, because that's certainly not a very exciting one, but we definitely came up with it. It was a group effort at the bar, and I remember being like, it fits really well because at the time we hadn't fully developed this kind of like comedy aspect of the music, or we weren't making videos yet the way we are. We were really like mostly writing pretty serious, like hauntingly beautiful music, I would say. There was definitely like some lightheartedness to it and some wit and some darkness or humor, but it was I remember thinking Dream Eaters worked for like invoking sort of a mysterious, haunting, feeling or something. And I think and now it still works as being a ridiculous comedy video duo or band. So it's evolved well with us, I think.
I think there's a science fiction book series called Dream Eaters. Every time I put Dream Eaters into Google, this book show up.
Yeah. That was
our search engine optimization has gotten a lot better recently. It used to be that book would come up right away, or I think it's a video game character also. But recently it's gotten a lot better. But if you add the word music to it or band, it'll come right up. But if you try to just search for the Dream Eaters or just Dream Eaters without the, it's a lot harder to find us. There's a lot of things called the Dream Eaters. It's not just, it's a book, it's like video games, it's other bands, it's hard to get to. By the way, the name of that TV show was Where's Wanda? I don't know have you heard of that?
Well.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't know. It's probably, I don't know what the German name for it is. It's probably a different name there, but it's Where's Wanda? So it was a really good, sort of detective show.
Okay.
And it was funny. It's a comedy.
Okay. I will check that out on Netflix, I guess, or Prime or.
Well, no, it's on. Well, I saw it on. I don't know what you have on offer in Germany, but I saw it on Apple TV.
Oh
I don't know if you have that.
Yeah,
channel.
we got Apple TV as well.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
My first contact with you were We're Fucked on Instagram, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It's just great, amazing.
Yeah.
Where did the idea of
Yeah.
writing short songs of 15 to 20 seconds come from?
Well, actually, that was the idea from that was sort of the idea of this iteration of the Dream Eaters from the beginning. So since from about 2019, I wanted to make a show that was a bunch of really short songs. Not always. Some songs would be longer, but a bunch of really short songs kind of cut together in a way that it would just kind of take you very quickly from one universe to another. And I think the main one of the things that gave me the idea to do that was there's a song which is a collection of very short songs. It's a sort of a compilation, but it's sort of presented as one song on a They Might Be Giants album from the early 90s, and it's called Apollo 18, I think, and the name of the song is Fingertips. And within that song, it's just exactly what I was picturing, like a bunch of very quickly cut together, short, silly songs. And it's very effective. I really like the way that they did that. So that was part of what I wanted to do, and then I just wanted to add video to it and just kind of build a world that way. And so that's kind of, where the idea to make such short songs came from.
Yeah, it was really like very good timing as well. Like when Jake had that idea to start building towards that, like TikTok and Reels weren't really taking off. Like that wasn't really a thing yet. And then as Jake was like describing to me kind of this vision he had, I was like, I think what you're describing is literally TikTok, kind of like in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Of course, like, or at least like the right platform for it. So then with kind of that in mind, you just did what you were going to do anyway, but now we just had sort of the perfect platform for it.
Yes, the timing of it was really good because it was just basically I had the idea, which was completely separated from. It was just an artistic vision. It had nothing to do with like, and this will work well on Instagram. Like I had no idea at the time that it would work so well. And it took a while for it to take hold because we were on Instagram doing this stuff for like, I don't know, even 3 years or so before it really started to take off. But pretty quickly we started to see like how well the puzzle pieces fit together of like this artistic idea with, this just happens to work really well with what's going on with, social media technology right now anyway.
Yeah.
And then even at the time when we had this idea, Instagram was still mostly still photos. They weren't really Elizabeth kind of just already referred to this, but mostly at the time it was still photos. There wasn't a lot of video. And TikTok was just kind of coming up, and I at the time, I didn't even see TikTok. I wanted to give up on TikTok, actually. I remember telling Elizabeth I was going to give up on TikTok, and then for some reason I stuck with it, and that took off first for us, actually. That was when we first started to see like hundreds of thousands of views. And then Instagram kind of followed suit a couple years later. And now Instagram is better than TikTok for us anyway. But
We're fucked. We're fucked. We're fucked. We're fucked.
There are some songs, like Midtown, for example. They are 20 seconds, 22 seconds or so. And I wish this would be a 2-minute or 3-minute song. This is so great. You need more of this. And it's gone and up to the next song. Well,
that's something that we're working on right now is to try to make sure that there's a lot of our fans are always asking for this. Well, almost every song that we put out, they're saying it should be a longer song. And a lot of times, at first I kind of didn't really agree with that because there were certain songs that they would ask for it to be a long song, and I would go, well, what more is there to say about this? I've already said, the whole point of it is that it's brief and it's meant to be the art form that it is. It's meant to be really short, but. So many people have been asking for it over the years that I just go, well, obviously, if I don't start, building these songs out into longer songs, I'm ignoring what our fans are asking for, and I don't want to do that. So we're working on that now, basically.
Okay.
next, probably 2025, you'll start to see all of the short songs will also have a long version to them.
Okay, perfect.
You know.
Kevorkian is a catchy tune. It stays in my head for days. The synthesizers, the melodies, everything fits perfectly. How does songwriting work for you? Does anyone come up with a text or a melody, or how is this working for you guys?
Jake pretty much writes everything, and pretty much just we go along with it. Sometimes I'll have like slight changes or suggestions or edits, but for the most part, yeah, Jake, you tell us.
Well,
I generally, most of our songs are just things that I walk around the house shouting because I'm angry about something.
Okay.
You know, so like, you know, we're fucked is the kind of thing that I would just say out loud all the time. Like, oh, we're fucked. You know, like, forget about it. We're fucked. It's already over. It's very German of me. It's my German side.
That's a typical pessimist.
We're fucked. You know? Yeah, right. Exactly.
Okay.
So, and so that's kind of how most of the ideas come up. I'm just angry about something, and then I just say it out loud, and I go, "Oh, that's a good song title," and then I turn it into a song. It's pretty simple. It's a pretty simple
For
formula.
you.
For me. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Last question to a particular song. I'm not in right now. Songs that stay again in my head for days are rare these days. But this song is just one of the most beautiful songs I ever listened to. For sure, I know that Noel Gallagher would have loved to have written this song and throw away Wonderwall.
I love that song.
I knew that when I demoed it that there was definitely something to it. I don't think I thought the problem. I remember when I wrote it, I thought, well, this doesn't fit in with anything that we're doing.
Okay.
And then I think I just decided it was such, you know, it was such a song that I liked so much that I was going to overlook that. And then we went to record it. I still wasn't even sure what I would do with it. And Elizabeth sang it about 15 times or something. And I when I went to go sort through those files, those recordings, I dropped them all into the session, and now they were lined up with my vocal. And I accidentally hit play. You don't want to do this. Generally, you don't want to do this, but I actually accidentally hit play, and they all played at the same time.
Okay.
And I thought, that sounds incredible. So that's kind of how that song came to be what it is. That's why I think that's part of why it's so sort of epic sounding. Is because there's 15 Elizabeths on it, and it's and then there's me. You know, I think I'm like triple tracked on it as well. And then and yeah, I mean, I just think it's a good. You know, it's a good song. You know, it just came out good. I don't know. Some songs just come out good. That one was one of those that I wrote, you know, in 10 minutes, and you know, usually the best songs are not always, but usually the best songs. I think most songwriters will tell you this, are written very quickly. There's not a lot of effort. It's not very difficult to get to the end of a good song.
Okay.
You know.
It's funny because I think when you first showed it to me, my immediate reaction, sometimes selfishly, is like, oh, well, this is kind of a Jake song. Like, that, you know, he opens it, he's mostly singing it. And so I was kind of like, okay, like, fine, but, you know, selfishly, like, give me more or something like that. But then when I actually sang it, and like Jake said, when it all came together, I was like, oh, I understand that I don't need to be, like, at the forefront of everything to be a critical part of the final product. And then
you are a critical part of the final product.
No, I know that's what I'm saying, is that, like, I don't need, you know, like, I've learned to trust that I don't need to be singing the lead in order for it to be, like, exactly as it should be. And I love that song. I think it's very, like, timeless. I think it could easily fit into, like, kind of any decade.
There's currently a discussion about AI-generated music. Now that I have you two professionals here, what do you think about this? Will there still be creative minds like you in the future?
Well, the process of making music is so joyous to me. I just can't imagine, you know, that people will want to stop doing it. I don't know whether it will be something that, I mean, to be honest with you, so much of the music that I would imagine would be replaced by AI in the future would be like, you know, bed music for TV shows and things like this. And that's already, in my opinion, much of the time, that's already terrible music. It's already lifeless, joyless music that some guy is just sitting in his studio making because he wants to make money, and he's going to try to get it done as quickly as possible. And it's going to be just like, oh, let me make a song. This is what they want. They want, it to be this tempo. They want it to be this feel, and it's useless music in the first place. And even the person that's making it doesn't like it. They resent the fact that they have to make it to make money. They'd much rather make what they're passionate about. So that music that will be the most, that is the thing that I can see being replaced by AI the quickest. And that is the thing that I care the least about. I very much doubt that there will ever, well, maybe I shouldn't say ever. I should never say never. But I doubt that anytime soon there will be a time where people are moved by robotic music. I mean, and the people listen to music because they're moved by it. And I think you need to be a human being to understand that. As of right now, I mean, I'm sure it could change, but that's how I think of it right now.
Yeah, no, I think you kind of nailed it. I think, I mean, if it gets people a tool to make music that if they were curious before, I don't think that's like threatening by any means. I think we have bigger issues like, streaming and like, I don't know. There's no part of me that's like, oh, people are just going to stop making music now. I think we'll find other ways to reach each other. I don't really know. I think like back to kind of like radio, back to singles. I really don't know what the solution is in terms of like the industry of music, but I think as far as creating music, like, I mean, again, yeah, if somebody was curious and this sort of gives them like a kickoff point, then great.
Right, I do. I think AI in general, for what people use it for now, is just the beginning of something, which is fine. The kickoff point is a good point that Elizabeth made there. Like, I think it's good to, I think it's nice to have some, it's nice to be already part of the way there and not start completely from scratch, even if in the end you end up deconstructing it anyway and completely removing anything that the AI did in the first place. So I think I think as a tool, it's great. I certainly wouldn't want to see it creating the end product all by itself. I mean, I certainly don't think that I would be interested in that.
Okay.
An AI generated Bond theme song, like that would be sad.
Right.
Like, but an AI like music in the background of a reality dating show, great, hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Everything I touch turns to shit. Everything I touch turns to shit. Oh yeah. Everything I touch turns to shit, and you don't care.
Your videos are a pillar of your artistic output. Was that just important to you as the music itself? I think you put a lot in your videos, like the mask, the graphics and all that.
Yeah. Well, not as important, but it's obviously important. It's not, nothing will ever, to me, will ever be as important as the music, which I imagine for most filmmakers, or anybody that works with the moving image in any way, is, I mean, even a painting, the most important thing is the story. The image is secondary to the story, so it's the same thing with music, the music video. The music is going to be more important than what's on the screen. The screen is just kind of helping to deliver the music to your ears, I think. So, but at the same time, obviously we all love looking at things that look good. So I try to make it look good. And I also have a lot of visual ideas that sometimes bleed over into something that will be inspiration for a song. So I'll think of an image and go like, oh, that would be a good idea for a song. So there's that as well, I mean, the great romantic composers were often painting a picture with the music. Beethoven was saying, here's I don't know a specific example, but here's a parade, here's a child with a balloon, here's a bird flying over, So it's not, I don't think much, I think it's still the same thing, just, in a different way now. for me and for
Okay.
a lot of people.
Oh, on
Yeah.
the video? I mean, it is nice to I really love having like the outlet for the makeup and stuff. It's fun to have another dimension to the creativity, I guess. Like we have a lot of fun with the wardrobe and we certainly care about it a lot, but yeah, absolutely. It's a vehicle for the music at the end of the day.
In your videos, I occasionally see a guy who goes by the name of Steven. He is more or less the active part and dances or whatever he is doing there. Who is Steven
Right.
and how is he involved in with the Dream Eaters?
He is our, he's
Sweet buddy.
I don't really know. I mean, he plays drums for
Okay.
us live. He dances. He directs. He does a lot of the camera work. He's just part
Okay.
of the team. You know, he's just sort of. He's not really in the Dream Eaters as a band, but he is an essential part of the output of it, and he does play with us live, so I guess in some ways he is part of the Dream Eaters, but he's not, when you hear our albums, he's not
Okay.
on the albums. But that's really the only thing that he's not involved with, and he might start getting involved with even that soon, so
Okay.
we'll see, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, well, he's working on your videos. I love Steven. he's
Yes. Yeah, everybody loves him. He's exactly what you see in the videos. That is
Okay.
what he's like in person. He is the life of the party. He's a really fun guy to be around. Yeah, and he also is just a very, very good person. He's a very supportive, great friend, and he's just one of the best
Okay.
guys I've ever met. So
cool.
that's Steve.
Some listeners will now ask, yeah, super cool, but when can I see you at Madison Square Garden or the Staples Center in Los Angeles? Hit me.
Well, we'd rather. Where are you in Germany?
Close to Cologne. Cologne, you may have
Bonn,
heard.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
that's where I'm recording it.
Well, anyway, we'd love to come to Cologne. We'd love to come to Berlin. So hopefully that will happen as soon as the Madison
Yeah.
Square Garden thing happens too. I love Berlin. It's one
Oh,
of my
really?
favorite cities.
Okay.
So, oh yeah, yeah.
Very
Such a
cool.
great place. I'll have to come to Cologne. I have never been to Cologne.
Well, you're invited, you too. Perfect.
Thank you.
Are there any plans how you can put your show onto the stage? I think this is not an easy task. What you do in videos on TikTok or Instagram to put on a stage.
Well, we are playing a show this Friday, actually. We've never played a show with Steve before. This will be the
Okay.
first time that Steve is playing with us, and I think that you can see. Actually, I just posted a video of us playing live on Instagram, and there was one also from last week. So you can get an idea of what we're like live from those videos. So Steve's presence and his body movements and all that are going to be there. And then you have me and Elizabeth singing. So it's basically like one of the videos. I mean, it looks like
Okay.
one of the videos. It's actually probably more active, because I'm actually moving around a little bit. Elizabeth's moving around. Usually in the videos, as you know, we're pretty much standing stock still. And Steve is moving around. But all three of us are moving around. So you can see what the answer to your question is. You can see what it looks like live if you just, look at the social media.
We've thought about doing like a projector or something. I think like probably as we, I guess just like get back into playing live more. We just haven't played live much in a few years. We might add some in. It'd be great to have like some custom lighting or some projections or something. But
Custom
for now,
lighting.
custom lighting. Custom lighting.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have custom lighting and projections.
And like a cool set.
Okay, cool. Were there any thoughts of streaming this concert live on YouTube or so, or Instagram Live or so?
We will probably start doing that in 2025.
Okay.
There's no way we're going
Yeah.
to be able to get that
Yeah.
together for Friday because it's just it's involved
Okay.
trying to do that stuff and
For it
it's
to sound
even
good.
just for us to go get ourselves to the club to just play for
Yeah,
the people in
sure,
the club
sure.
or club. It's a bar. Just to get to the bar is enough of an effort for now. Like we don't even we're not even 100% of the songs yet, so we have to figure that out first, and then once we get an infrastructure for it, we will start to live stream and stuff.
Dear Elizabeth and dear Jake, these were my questions for you. I learned a lot today, and I hope you had some fun as well.
Yeah. Oh, we had a great time. It was great to talk.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I hope to see you over here in Cologne, and maybe we catch a German beer, Jake. How about
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Love that. Congrats on your first English podcast. I think that
Thank you.
Yeah, your English is excellent.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. Well, perfect. Thank you very much.
Germans always speak, from my experience, Germans always speak excellent English.
Really. Thank you for your visit. And to you out
Yeah.
there, stay curious and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Questions for the interview podcast with Frank Göbel.